distinguished guests, and all those who are invited to this mighty discussion of today under Tropics. I'd like to thank Venetia for the strength that she has for so many years. She has an enormous energy that I cannot describe at her age. And she also started this at an early age, I must say, because I've been with her in these 9 years. I've seen her growing. I've seen her, striving for the best. So I would like to say to her, God has been with her, and myself, I'm happy to be here even today on this 9th session. My name is Phylis, Malope, as indicated. Pilani Community Development Center is 22 years now. It started as early as 2002. And I'm not alone. I'm going with young, because we always theorize and say we are taking the baton to the young, and yet we leave them behind. Maybe they can just stand up for 1 minute and wave to the elders here. Thank you. Pilani Community Development Programs in the West Reine, we always say it's the humble beginnings. Humble beginnings because when we started, we didn't even have a cent or a 10 rand in our pockets. But it was God's call that I have to go and start that institution or organization. By profession, I'm a teacher. I've lectured, I've taught so many teachers and principals in my community. But God gave me the mandate to go and start Pilani. When I went to Zilpecom, I thought I was going for farming. But I soon realized that farming was too hard for me. And looking at that environment, I looked at the environment and I saw the youth sitting in the pavements with one bottle store in the community. Those who are not going to school would go and enjoy in the bottle store for the whole day. I looked around, there was only one school, and a primary school for that matter. And I looked around, there was only maybe a few churches around with a scanty railway line. So as we were busy with the agriculture, my heart said, but with education, which is my profession, I can do better. I started looking around. I wasn't staying in the area, but I saw a desolated mine there. And I asked the community, they said, no, we are not allowed to go there. It's a mine. And if you have to go and visit the officials or the managers, you only talk with the walkie-talkie. Now I realize that apartheid is at its peak. I visited the place and I was told the same story, that no neighborhood is allowed to enter the mine. You can ask whatever you need from the walkie-talkie. With the walkie-talkie, I said, no, but I would like to talk to the manager, not the walkie-talkie. They said, who are you? Where do you come from? You don't know this environment. But fortunately, as I was allowed to get in there, that was the day the Pilani Community Development was formed. It was formed because the very officials, managers, gave me the place to use. They said, we have a barracks here with 31 rooms, and we're about to demolish it because it's causing crime even for us. So I'm always grateful to God for that guidance. because that's when we started Pilani. And the area, the children were not having even an ECD. So we started with the ECD, we started with the computer training with the sponsor from Microsoft. I'll always be indebted to them. We moved beyond. There was a call by President Thabo for the HIV/AIDS offense. And we never believed, but we found that in the area, we discovered 300 HIV/AIDS offense in those years. That is 2003. And we realized that HIV/AIDS is real. And we never looked back. Those very offense didn't know what to do after the age of 18, where they were not supported by the Department of Social Development. So we started the skills development. The skills development was born. We had people from the people that sometimes we call foreign nationals. They are so skilled, they're so talented. And we started the skills development by making beds, base sets. And the people around could not believe that the offense can really manufacture beds. Of course, we did it with the partnership from the private sector. And we never looked back. People didn't believe, and they said, why? Why is it a child abuse? Why are you making children to manufacture beds? You know? But because the premier heard our story, he came around, and we won several Premier's Award of Service Excellence because of that creativity that our Excellency has talked of, because of those gifts that you have alluded to. Now people started to believe that Pilani is unique, and we never looked back. And for that matter, you know, people in our surrounding would not even tell you what happens in the United Nations. I took another stride to join what we call CSW, Commission on the Status of Women, in New York. Nobody invited me, but I took the initiative to go and see what happens. And that was when I started to have the Young Women's Skills Revolution. I brought it here, and I took the young ladies. We went to the provincial government to say, what can you do? This is what I've learned overseas. But I would like to share it because it talks to the young girls. We are in the urban, we are in the rural area. And fortunately, they heard our story. We started having, in the whole area, in the whole West Rand, Gauteng, we started this Young Women's Skills Revolution. And the Premier was surprised when he visited our organization. I wouldn't stand there and be a program director. I would give to the young women and public speaking to be the to prove the inputs and the efforts that we are putting when we move out and learn from the other people. That has gone on even now. When you talk of the G20, I'm proud that I've spent 3 days at the G20. Of course, even before, because I belong to even other platforms of civil society. I've been involved, I've participated, so that I know that I have to share the story back there in the grassroots where people are neglected. We were able to highlight the poverty in our communities, because we are the ones to highlight the issues that are on the ground. It's called informal sectors, but they become formal because we are able to share with the higher level and these are taken up as issues. So I would like to call upon the civil society in particular to know that they have a crucial role to play in their communities. That unity for Africans, it is needed. That unity building, we always say unity gives strength. That is true. And the language barrier is also noted, but we can always overcome the language barrier, like she has translated, and we can also build our own language. We have to build the Africa. And the NGOs and NPOs are there as a strength for all the communities. Let us stop looking at the government, because we are government ourselves. What we do down there must consolidate what is being planned in the offices. So my call is on the NGOs to say, let's have our own unity, let's have our own discussions, our own discourse, so that the platforms like this one, the Tropics, were able to share ideas, and we build our unity by understanding each other, by understanding what is happening at the level of the leaders. People could not understand why there is G20 summit and the G20 leader summit. To consolidate, that was, if you were there, you would see that is consolidating all what has been discussed at the summit. So at this point, I would like to say thank you for being in Africa. You are in South Africa. The G20 has happened, and the G20 is real. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mama Phylis. You know, it's really important with what you said, especially about not just getting invited to the table. You just take yourself there. Because when you take yourself there, like what you've been doing overseas, is learning, taking the skills and bringing it back to benefit all of us that are sitting around this room, the youth, and the work that you've been doing from the past 20 years, we really appreciate it. And this is what we call African doers, you know, because changing the 1% of your community, you are, of the 300 children that you've touched, they've multiplied over the 20 years that you've been working, and now we are sitting with almost 1 million people that you have impacted in this country, which actually is part of the percentage of this country, and we really appreciate you, and let's give thanks to the African doers that are making a difference.